All right, so what is up, you guys? My name is Kenneth from KT Lifestyle, and in this week's video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can make your video editing process faster. All right, so I started off video editing when I was in middle school and doing some gameplay videos, uploading them onto YouTube. Then I eventually transitioned to doing vlogs and travel videos. And now I am doing more sit-down videos where I kind of want to educate you guys on how I learned my video editing process and kind of like a compilation of the tips and tricks that I have from my experience of doing that. All right, so I know there are a lot of YouTube videos out there that teaches you all these little tips and tricks and like shortcuts on how you want to use and implement these little tricks in order to speed up your video editing process. But in this video, I want to talk about the number one thing that really helped me speed up my editing process. And that number one thing is to really understand that you need to slow down in order to speed up. And what I mean by slowing down in order to speed up is that you really have to keep in mind your vision of your final video product. This is something that you really have to keep in mind throughout your entire video editing process, even before you pick up your camera. So you really have to think about when you are filming, what is your ideal video? Think about what type of footage you want it to have, what type of music you want it to have, if you want to add some more b-roll or if you want to incorporate bloopers and stuff like that. Really think about that ahead of time. So a lot of beginners really make this mistake where they shoot too much footage. And I know I do preach that you can never have too much b-roll in this video right here. But there does come a time where you are just shooting way too much, that when you are actually going to sit down and edit your video, you have too much footage. So for example, for me, when I get too much footage, it takes me so long to just even watch all the clips to really pick out the parts that I want to keep in the final video. This is really common for people that make vlogs and travel videos where they just want to record everything and show everything in one video. Sometimes for me, one day of travel can equate to 4 hours of footage. And that's so crazy because as a creator, I really want to put all the best parts in the video and not want to miss anything. So I would have to really sit down through all those 4 hours of footage, and that's already 4 hours down the drain of you just watching footage to put in your videos. That doesn't even go into editing yet. So this is why you really want to keep in mind the things you are filming and really be intentional on what you are going to film. Another way for you to really slow down in order to speed up is to really understand what type of video you are making. Think about your audience. Think about what you want them to feel after watching your video. What is the purpose of this video? Are you trying to entertain people? Are you trying to educate people? Are you trying to inspire people? Really ask these questions before you even pick up a camera to film your videos. Knowing the answers to these questions really will help you as a creator and as an editor to really know what type of songs and what type of music, what type of sound effects you want to include in your video in order to really pull these emotions from your audience and really have the audience feel the way that you want them to feel after watching your video. And another way for you to really slow down to speed up your video editing process is to really know the software that you're using. So first off, if you're really a beginner, then you really need to pick the video editing software first. It doesn't matter what software you are using, really know the ins and outs of the software and know how to cut clips out, how to rearrange your clips, how to add music, how to export your video. And it's really important for you to know these steps in order for you to avoid wasting time in the long run and having to pause in between each video edit and having to look up how to do a certain task. It's really as simple as just going onto YouTube or going onto Google and searching up how to cut using Adobe Premiere Pro or how to add music using Final Cut Pro, and really looking into these questions and knowing the basics and the fundamentals and the ins and outs, like I said, of your video editing software, so you really know how to do each and everything that you have to do for your video edit. And I know some of you are thinking that's going to take a lot of time. Why can't I just dive right into the video editing process? Don't mistake me for this, but what I'm saying is that you really just have to know the basics and the fundamentals. You don't have to know every single effect of the software. Just know the main things you have to do in order for you to make a video. And like what I listed, know how to cut, you know how to import, know how to export, and all that stuff, know how to add media on it, because that's the main bulk of your workflow. Everything else is kind of just an icing on the cake. And then another way for you to slow down in order to speed up your video editing process is for you to really have a standardized workflow. And what this means is that you want to have a step-by-step process that is custom to you, because you have your own unique editing style as opposed to everybody else. Sure, you can have inspiration on how I edit and how other people can edit. I really think that video editing is an art, and that you have to think about all the things that you've learned from, say, how I educate you on how to make a video edit, and also think about how you learn from other people, because other people might have different techniques when it comes to video editing. So really pick and choose the things that you really like from these different types of creative people and create your own workflow. What this means is you're going to have a step-by-step process on what things you have to do in order to create a video, which can be implemented for every video that you create. Like, for example, an overview of my video editing workflow is that first I have to obviously import the clips onto my software, and then I will have to cut the clips and then have to rearrange the clips in the order that I want, and then I will put all my effects and all that stuff and do the final tweaks in the very end, and then I will export it. That's an overview of my workflow. You may have a different type of workflow where you want to incorporate other things. It really depends on you and what type of video you want to create, but definitely have a standardized workflow so you know exactly step by step what you need to do, one step after the other. I do go a little bit more in depth about my video editing process in this video right here. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll go ahead and watch it after this video is over. So far from this video, we have talked about how you can slow down in order to speed up your video editing process. And so for those of you who have stayed throughout the end of this video, I just want to thank you guys for staying all the way to the end. And I do want to reward you guys by giving you guys a free downloadable action plan on how you can speed up your video editing process. And it gives you kind of like a step-by-step of how you can do it and all the things you have to think about. Hopefully this action plan can really help you guys out and up-level your video editing process and your content creation. So if you're interested in downloading that PDF, I have left the link down in the description below, so go ahead and check that out. And as always, I hope you learned something from this video, and if you have, please leave a comment of your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. And that is all I have for you this week, so I will see you all next Monday.